We live.
Just thinking about it. And we are live.
We
We are
are.
live. Welcome. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome to the Peak Wellness Hour. You are here for the conversation. We're diving in, as we always do, on good conversation. And we're focused on dementia. So I am, along with Queen Edith here, I am Angelina. We are Peak Home Care Associates. We are located in We're based in Noblesville, Indiana, but we service the greater part of central Indiana for non medical home care. And we are here today and every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give back to the community and have pertinent conversations that resonate with caregivers, whether you are a loved one, a family member, or you are a healthcare provider. Okay, so I do apologize. I apologize for being a little delayed. It's always something interesting that goes on, but we are here and we are ready to have this discussion.
Mm.
So, like I said last week, it is World Alzheimer's Awareness Month for the month of September. So, for these next few Saturdays, we're diving into the conversation of what dementia looks like, and just having different, touching on different topics where we can help those that are tuned in grow, especially again as a caregiver. So before we dive into this, again, we're going to do a Q&A today. I love my role in it as nursing in dementia care. I'm not a fan of dementia, right? But I enjoy being able to service that group of people that are dealing with that disease process. So that's been my knack for so many years in nursing. So we're going to dive into the conversation by way of Q&A. So Queen Edith here is going to throw some things out and we're going to get those questions answered. So, what I want you all to do is if you are watching, please, first of all, like and share. That would be so awesome because we want to help anyone we can, whether it is live or whether it's on a replay. We want to share this information with you all. We want to invite you to also, please, I know we're on Facebook. Most of you are watching us on Facebook, but we have started a YouTube channel. So if you can go over to YouTube and subscribe to the Peak Home Care Associates channel, that would be awesome as well. Okay. So if you have any questions, if I'm looking down on my phone, it's because I'm trying to keep up with the chat in different platforms. So if you have questions that you would like us to try to address in regards to dementia, please feel free to put those in the chat and we can have that discussion because we are here for growth. So I'm going to stop talking for just a second. Queen Edith, would you
Well,
like to introduce
before we go
yourself?
on, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you remember the name of our YouTube channel?
Yes, Peak Home Care. It's just Peak Home Care Associates.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Hello, 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 fans and family. I was not here last week. I was taking care of something else. I don't know what Queen Angelina shared with you, but yeah, I was taking care of the other Edith business, but we thank God for another week, another day, and it's Alzheimer's week, World Alzheimer's Month. Do you know what else I learned today this month is?
What's that, Queen?
World Sickle Cell Month, Sickle Cell Disease Month,
Huh.
and even though sickle cell is not prevalent in the United States, it's very prevalent to where I come from, Africa, Ghana, West Africa. I have a lot of families who have lost a lot of friends who have lost families due to sickle cell. So shout out to all the men and the women who are out there working so hard to make sure that our friends and family who go through this disease or this illness get the healing and get the care that they need, because so many of us live in the United States, and so the US is getting to a point where they're also working with a lot of people. So to all the doctors out there, shout out to you, to the nursing staff and everything, shout out to you. I also say shout out to you, my friends. I have a lot of friends, So if I start mentioning names, I will forget. But we are your friends, we are your family, and even though you've lost so many, we are still here for you. And I thank God for your lives and for the strength that has carried you all through these difficult times of losing family and friends. Well, back to World Alzheimer's Week. Queen, I don't want to use the word expert because that will put you in a place where you don't want to be. But you're
Correct.
quite knowledgeable with dementia and Alzheimer's. You have formed a lot of dementia support groups to help educate families and give them the tools, as much tools as you possibly can, to help them manage, or live with or take care of their senior adults or their families who have dementia. These days, you can't even say it belongs to only the senior community. People in
Mhm.
their 40s, 50s, 60s, early 60s are dealing with it.
Yes.
So it's a huge deal. How much of an impact has dementia on our lives?
That's a really good question. And until you are, good day, King. Dean Mays in the house. Thank you for joining us. So before we dive into this, people, unless you're dealing with that disease process, it's very unfathomable. To have a loved one, especially a parent, um, that doesn't recognize you, a spouse that doesn't recognize you. Those things are very traumatic. I think it affects us in different ways. I think that the impact is so great because there's a lack of understanding when it comes to, and I'm going to use my words very carefully, okay? The importance of having a balance as a caregiver dealing with a loved one with dementia is critical because it can weigh on you, and we never want to see people as a burden because they're not. But that disease process is very, very traumatic to watch. So having a support group is important because you don't know how to explain it. My husband and I were talking last night about he's a dementia memory care he's a memory care manager. So we were talking about those things and families coming in having these questions, having these expectations, and they're not unrealistic expectations, but not having a conversation about dementia, I think, is what makes it more difficult for all of us to deal with. So when my thing is have conversations with, especially with caregivers, if you're a caregiver, excuse me, healthcare providers, taking the time to have that conversation about what dementia is and what it looks like is important. I think that's part of it. Not knowing what it looks like in the process. I think we think that people will get better or it'll resolve itself, or it's temporary, and we're just never prepared for that disease process to spiral the way it does sometimes. Did I answer your question? I don't feel like I did.
Yes, you did. You did in a way. One of my experiences, or an experience I've had, is that a lot of the time it doesn't start with your senior not recognizing you. It starts with things like confusing the days and nights. It starts with agitation. I You see that the person at the onset, and this is our disclaimer: we are not your doctor, we are not giving you medical advice, we are sharing from our experiences. By all means, talk to your healthcare provider, your doctor, your whoever, but we are sharing to create an awareness. Okay, and it's by not by any means replacing anything your doctor have told you. Let's just put that out there.
Yes.
So what I have experienced is this, working from, because working with, because I'm not a healthcare professional, working with people who have dementia is number one. You see agitation, you see a little bit of a personality change based on what you know. They are agitated a little bit because of the frustration of trying to remember
Hmm.
that they can't remember. They're getting frustrated. They can't remember the name. They can't remember the place. They can't remember what they did just a few minutes ago. They get the frustration creates agitation. Keep
Hmm.
an eye out for that. You know, we all forget things. You go to the room to go get something, and you walk into the room and, what did I come here for? You
Hmm.
know, and then you walk back, and then you remember. At least you remember. You go back and get it. For them,
Yeah.
they don't.
Hmm.
They don't. Then they don't. They get frustrated, and so they begin to get agitated. So watch out for those signs.
And that's a very good point. And I'll say this, when you get to that phase, that's why, and I will say this, I said it before, dementia and Alzheimer's is not a process of aging. Okay, being forgetful, not Johnny on the spot, not as clear in your thought process. But dementia and Alzheimer's is not a part of aging. So it is very important to make sure we check on our elders, our senior citizens, because before we start seeing the agitation and the confusion with the days and nights and time and different things, this individual is at home. How many seniors do we know that are widowed? Now they live alone, right? Their children, their families are in different states. You don't see the day to day where things start shifting. And by the time you're noticing that agitation and that difference in that person, they've already been battling with this. A big thing with dementia is masking, especially with the early stages. People mask their symptoms, they deflect from those symptoms because it is scary. So pay attention to your seniors, pay attention to your elders, and check on them, because it's little subtle things. And when people mask things, you can answer simple questions. How was your day? What did you eat today? Did you eat? Yeah, I ate. I had breakfast earlier. I had leftovers. I'm telling stories that didn't happen, but it sounds good, right? So we have to be able to pay attention to those things, dive into conversations where you can notice those things, and be sensitive with it, because it does cause agitation. Well, are you sure you ate? Well, now they're getting upset because they're thinking, and now they're waiting for you to respond, and they're lost in the dark, So just pay attention with that. And Edith's right, being gentle, and knowing how to approach those things. Agitation does not aggressiveness does not necessarily coincide with the dementia process. It's a result of you know your environment and things that trigger you. So no one with dementia that can't remember does not want to be angry or aggressive or non-compliant. You just have to live in their world, because that's where they're at. And that your environment, that stimuli can change everything. So I'll end with that.
The other thing I'd like us to touch on is this, that a lot of people move their parents to facilities without necessarily knowing that there's an onset. The fact that they have not been diagnosed does not necessarily mean it's not there. And two things: when we wait too late for them to move, if they have to move, or when we don't get them the help they need early enough for them to even have a relationship with whoever their caregiver is,
Mhm.
it makes it worse. Because when we feel okay now. Mom consistently is burning food. The
Mhm.
basic thing, she forgot to turn on the heat at winter. She
Mhm.
forgot to move from the heat to the air conditioning in the summer. You see that, okay, now we don't think mom can or dad can be here by themselves. They are forgetting little things. Things, basic things of the basic things they do, even frying an egg and they leave the stove on, or they turn on one burner and the pot is on another burner, and
Mhm.
all those things. And then we as a family decide that, okay, now mom needs help and I can't be here for help to help her the way. Why don't we get a facility where she won't even have to worry about food or cleaning and all those things?
Mhm.
And we move them without necessarily knowing that there's something mentally going on with Alzheimer's. So
Mhm.
suddenly they are in this space where it's very unfamiliar territory. They're learning to figure their way around. Meanwhile, they're forgetting things that they did every day. That itself is a major risk factor. And we need to be very considerate of that. If we know they're going to move, maybe we should think about it much earlier. If we're going to give them a caregiver, their house is paid for, and they're going to have a caregiver to live with them, to help them. So by the time it gets any worse, there's already that person who knows them and so knows how to help them in a way that doesn't feel threatening or imposing. It's a big thing. The other thing, I don't know if you have anything to say, but I want to talk about denial.
Hold your
Denial.
thought, Queen. No, keep talking. The sound went out. I'm sorry because I cannot hear you for some reason. So if you all see me fiddling around,
Can you hear me now?
it's very faint. It's okay. I'm gonna figure it out in just a second. My apologies, everyone.
I think you're frozen. I think you're frozen. Your internet going on. Okay, I want to talk about denial. And even before I talk about denial, let's just say that mom or dad suddenly is waking up in the middle of the night. Okay, she will wake up or he will wake up and get dressed. You can see him or her or hear them move about in the middle of the night, moving around in their room in the middle of the night. Their body is suddenly awake. They're changing clothes in the middle of the night, getting ready for the day in the middle of the night. It's another sign of a mental deterioration, the dementia. They are confusing the daytime and the nighttime. Queen, do you want to talk about that thing? Can you
I
hear me?
do. I'm going to turn my camera off because I am really having a hard time hearing. So I'm going to turn this off so I can put this to my ear so that I can hear. I'm so sorry. It's been interesting with these technical difficulties. I'm gonna let you keep talking because I missed that last part. I am so sorry. I hope you all are listening.
I was talking about one of the signs of daytime and confusion, daytime and nighttime confusion. Sometimes it starts with them waking up early in the middle of the night, sleeping all day, waking up in the middle of the night. So the
Hmm.
day and the time. I was working with a client this week, and she said to me that the daytime and the nighttime have become very confusing for her. And I said, well, now we're in the daytime, so we're gonna get busy. That way, you don't have to sleep all day, and then at night you can say, well, I hear you and I get it mentally, but my body doesn't understand.
Right.
Body does not understand. And sometimes We think that we can keep them busy, and we try to keep them busy in the daytime and all. So even though it has to do with the brain, their body is still not getting that this is daytime. No matter how much you say it to them, it doesn't make a difference. Because I said it. I said, well, now that we know that you're waking up in the night, why don't we get busy so at night you're so tired you can't help it? Because my body doesn't get it. Those were her words. What do you have to say to that?
Right, and I agree with that. Sometimes, especially in a facility setting, again with professionals, healthcare professionals, it's important to get to know each person you're taking care of, because sometimes that can coincide with their past professions. Did these individuals used to work at night? Did the night shift? What were their sleep patterns? Because even though you have some seniors that have been retired for a long time, with dementia, they'll still revert back to their old ways, because it's more familiar, right? So I agree with Edith. Um, Redirecting is
Mm.
important. Not they're al- they're already confused. I'm trying to use my words correct. They're already confused. So for you to argue with someone about day and night, or whatever it is, it's not going to be a winning case. Nobody wins there. You might get someone to do what you want them to do, but you, again, with agitation, you cause agitation because you're trying to convince them to live in a reality that they cannot relate to. So to that, I say redirect and encourage. If they want to, yeah,
Wow. She's having internet issues, but she mentioned something. Angelina mentioned something that I want to touch on. She said, "No, it's good to know what they did when they were younger. In their active years, what job they did, what times of day they worked. Maybe they worked at, maybe they were nurses, or the kind of work they did, they work at night. Because one thing about dementia is I realized that the long term memory is rather very active. Excuse me. So if there were people who were working more at night, what happens is that that kicks in, and they are up doing stuff at night when they should be sleeping, and we may not understand it. So personally, knowing your clients, even in facilities, and a lot of the time, as much as the facilities try, because of lack of adequate staffing, sometimes the care cannot be very personalized. But knowing their lifestyle prior to their lifestyle in their younger days, in their working years, helps you to manage this entire process effectively without causing too much, or at least minimizing the level of agitation. So I like the fact that you said knowing what work they did, because long-term memory kicks in and short-term seems to be out like a poof.
hmm
So go ahead.
and I'm so sorry for these technical difficulties. My sincere apologies. But when we look at sundowners, that's a lot of where you see the confusion with the day and night. That's where you see a lot of behaviors with sundowning, and it literally is as the sun goes down. It starts to evening starts to hit, those behaviors change. And it's kind of like some. I don't want to say Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but like it can be very night and day sometimes, where the behaviors that you might see during sundowning may look totally different. Like right now I'm speaking to you, we're having a conversation, you know, come 6 o'clock, I might curse you out and get to fighting, and it's like, who is this person? We had lunch together, we talked together, they were confused, but it was okay. And now it's not, and that's the reality of things. And it's just kind of like the morning sickness thing, where it's not just in the morning. Sundowners is not just in the evening. Sometimes people, when things get really start to spiral really out of control, you will see sundowning earlier in the day, and then it becomes more of a pattern of mood, and it becomes behavioral where it's like I said, it's a pattern where you respond to different things because that's how your brain can understand that. So every time I see Edith, I don't know why I'm mad at her, but I don't like her and I want to stay away from her because I see her face. All she was trying to do was get me in the shower. But for whatever reason, I don't like her, keep her away from me. And now someone's thinking that Edith has done something wrong. I just didn't want to shower. Not from Edith, not from anyone, you know? And
And
so
Edith,
having,
Edith
again,
was the unfortunate person with her at the time. So your face become the symbol of I don't like you. I remember working with a client not too long ago. I mean, we all go on the field, right? You go on the field, right? We all go. My nurse
yes,
goes on the field to do
I
care
love it.
companionship. Thank you, thank you, thank you for stepping in to help so much. I just
Absolutely.
want to say that I don't want to take it for granted because that's not who what you do. I mean, that's who you are. Care
It
is
is.
who you are. Care is who you are. But the level that you are at, your job is to supervise and help. But you go and step in
No,
and you
we
give
are all in this
showers,
together.
you give showers, you give baths, you spend time. And I want to appreciate you right here, right now. And not just you, Tish, also, because we are in a season where we are all on the field, basically
Hmm.
working so much on the field. But and I want to say thank you.
I appreciate, and Edith, like I said, Edith's out there also. But let me ask you a question. In healthcare, wouldn't it be more fun to give patient care and change lives than it would be to pass meds, or fill out all reports or, manage people? I love patient care. I, I love it. I love to touch and to hug and to resonate with anyone I can connect with. So it is my honor. It is certainly a pleasure. You can keep the paperwork and the pills. Give me patient care. So
Thank you.
thank
I
you, Queen.
you for that. Just recently, I was working with one of our clients, and I was there. I went there in the morning, I think, and so after breakfast and everything, we went in the car and we went out. We went out. We walked the malls. We had a ball,
Mhm.
because with her, she likes to walk. When it kicks in, she walks and she walks and she walks. I don't know whether she was a walker before then, but she won't sit. So in the facility, she lives in the facility, she just goes around. So I thought, why not go out? So we drove to the
Mhm.
mall. I had family permission. Please, you need family permission before you take their people out. At Peak Home Care, we sign even a waiver. If you want me to
Mhm.
take your mom out, your dad out, you have to sign the waiver because putting the person in the car itself is a risk. You never know
Mhm.
what's going to happen. So please, caregivers, don't do anything without permission from the family. And when I say permission, I mean written permission, not verbal agreement. It doesn't hold in the court of law. Written permission. So we walked the mall. We went to Castleton Mall. We walked the mall for over an hour. And I said, you must be tired. Oh, I'm okay. So we went to eat pretzels and, Auntie Anne's pretzels. I'm not advertising for it, but I love it. But yeah, we had a great time. But to make a long story short, we come back to the facility and I wanted her to go use the bathroom because we've been gone for over 2 hours. It's time to use the bathroom. And oh, this suddenly she got upset with me. I was the love of her life, jumping and hugging me. Suddenly she got upset and hooked on to one of the nurses who worked in the facility. And oh, she did not want to have anything to do with me. So the change can be really, really swift. You said that very well, can be really swift. That if you are not a trained caregiver, you might take it personal. If you are not trained very well, even if you work in a facility, you will blame the caregiver that they did something wrong. And
Mhm.
we need to have that awareness that nobody did something wrong unless there is a clear evidence of abuse. We have to
Mhm.
understand that there is this flip that happens, and we have to work together as a team. If she flips from Edith to Angelina, then Angelina will say, Edith, step back. I got her. She got me. She got me. Now I'm the best friend. So now you are the enemy. Step away. But don't demonize Edith because this person flipped. It's the lack of
Mhm.
understanding. And I just want to also encourage family members. A lot of family members, unfortunately, are in denial.
Yes.
And it is sad to see your mom or your dad at that place.
Mhm.
But it doesn't change the reality that this is where they are. Work with your caregivers, whether it's a
Mhm.
family caregiver or it's the person you hired to help. Work with them. Don't
Mhm.
assume that every time mom or dad says blah blah blah, then the caregiver is the demon. Work with the team. Work together as a team. That's the only way we will get through this and be of great help. Having
Definitely.
said that, it doesn't mean don't also investigate, because we
Yes.
don't want anybody to take advantage of, oh, she has dementia or he has dementia, and do anything they want and know that the family will write it off. No.
Mhm.
We have to do due diligence and make sure that whatever we are doing is not harming our mom or our dad. I don't know what you want to say to that, but whatever you want to add.
I agree. It's a very fine line when it comes to dementia care with allegations, as Eve just explained. And for the record, and we'll have this conversation later on down the road when it comes to forms of abuse. But we're not even just looking at, me not wanting to get in the shower and Edith grabbing my arm. It's even with that, if you have to, our seniors, their skin is thin, so if I grab you to redirect you, it's very possible that you may bruise. A whole lot of things can happen with that. If you're on aspirin or blood thinners, things like that. Whole lot of things can happen because of that. Again, you want to investigate. But then you have situations where you're not seeing signs of physical abuse, but verbal abuse is real in the senior care population, and I'm not talking about in facilities, and I don't think it's always intentional. How many times did I tell you to do that? If you don't do this, da, da, we'll just sit here until you're ready. It's the tone. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And we talked about that here before, right? Um, Misappropriating people's funds. It's like Edith said, she took her client to Castleton. She, the client says, Edith, I want a pretzel, get you one too. That's fine. But you can't stop at the gas station and be like, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out here anyway. So I'm gonna swipe their card for gas because it makes sense, right? I'm here with them, giving them care. I use my gas for them. That's abuse. You
Before you
know.
even go on, let me add this to even the situation of
Mhm.
I want a pretzel, Edith, get one for yourself too. For as long as this client has some level of dementia, I wouldn't even encourage it.
Mm-mm.
Pay for your own.
Mhm.
Really pay for your own, because you no, even if it's a penny, pay for your own. Pay for them and pay for your
Mhm.
own. Use your own money. If the family decides, oh, you tell them we went there and we got this, you have your receipt. If the family, oh,
Mhm.
it is next. If the family tells you next time, oh, when you buy food for mom, buy some for yourself.
Mhm.
Then you have permission. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I agree with that. Have you ever had a situation? I've seen situations where, someone might want, a client, a resident might want, someone to go and run to CVS, for them, and they'll give you the change. I've had people try to get me to buy them cigarettes, in some places they can smoke. That's not my business. It's not for me to judge, your habits. If that's what you're allowed to do, then by golly, I don't mind helping getting your cigarettes. Okay. And these are not dementia patients for the record.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not
But
dementia.
even with that, what happens if you have somebody say, well, I gave her this money and I don't know what happened to my money. I don't know. I had this money. Well, you gave it to me to get you something. Well, no, I would. Well, so you took my money. Like with dementia, you can get
With
really
dementia,
scattered
you
with that.
never know. They will give it to you
Hmm.
today, and
Hmm.
tomorrow they say, I did not give it. That's why you do not accept gifts from clients.
Yes.
The family, however, can say blah, blah, blah. And if the client gets pushy, I want you to have it, then you call the family. You call
Hmm.
the family and let them know, and let them counsel, let them advise, let them tell you what to do. But never ever, because sometimes you don't know that this person even is at the onset of dementia. It's not diagnosed,
Hmm.
not known. So stay away from taking things. And this is a caution from clients. It's abuse. It may be just a quarter. It's still
Hmm.
stealing. Even though they said have it, it's still they are not in the right place. They are not there. They
Hmm.
may not have dementia officially medically diagnosed, but who knows when it starts really?
Hmm.
We only begin to
Yes.
see certain symptoms. Who knows when it starts? So
Hmm.
one thing we tell our caregivers: do not accept anything from the client.
Not
Listen,
anything.
I tell my caregivers, listen, if you're taking care of my mom and I come in and I give you a gift, take it. But when the client gives you a gift, take it nicely and put it right back. Just to put
Hmm.
their mind at rest. Because sometimes it bothers them. It really, because of who they were before becoming where they are getting to it. It bothers them. Take it, oh, thank you so much. And you know what? Find a drawer and put it in quietly. You know what I mean? When they accuse you, say, you know what, you gave it to me, but I didn't even take it. It's right here. Mother closed. Mother closed. Okay, Queen, go on.
No, you said it. So yeah, just let we have to be mindful of how we're dealing with our dementia residents, and not. And again, I brought up abuse because I know it's on the topic at hand, but again, being um, having a disconnect with the way to give care properly can unintentionally cause issues of abuse in some sort, even when it's not intentional. So just be mindful with that, and do your due diligence when it comes to patient care. Um, yeah, that's what I'll say with that. I had another thought, but I lost it. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the way we talk to them.
Hmm.
I think that we need to learn. You see, and this goes to us as caregivers, okay? I'm a caregiver. I'm not a professional HHE or CNA. I'm a pure Bailey companion sitter kind of. That's who I am. And kindness, when you know how to be kind, when it is your person, it's easier to relate.
Hmm.
Number one, they are not your children, but sometimes they act like that. Yelling and saying, you're telling somebody who doesn't even comprehend. Didn't I tell you to do that? And you keep saying that to this person, and they keep doing the same thing, and you keep yelling. There's something wrong with you more than there is with them.
Hmm. Yes.
So kindness, even though you may not necessarily be a kind-hearted or gentle person, it can be learned.
Hmm.
It comes out of compassion. It's for many, it's a job. It's a job. But even if it is a job, doesn't it put food on the table for you and your family?
Hmm.
Why would you not treat it well? Just like we are all going through something in this life, everybody's dealing with something. Don't assume they are not. Right where they are is a problem because they remember who they were, what they did. You
Mhm.
know, I remember one person where I met you, I don't want to mention names, but that man was a scientist. He worked with NASA.
Mhm.
He was top gun mathematician, like, but where he is now. I wonder if he remembers. I wonder what goes through his mind. And then we come to their room, their apartment, and we give orders about like they are nothing. They're
Mhm.
going through something with you and your attitude and the way you
Mhm.
address that. So I
Yes.
want to appeal to the people like me, the sitters, the companions, the HHAs, the CNAs, those are the people like you, even the nurses who sometimes go out
Mhm.
to help these people. Let us at least be a little patient,
Mhm.
be gentle, and know that they don't always understand where you're coming from. They are
Mhm.
also dealing with where they are right now. Let us not be part of the bad experience. You know,
Mhm.
they can read your face and read kindness. Even if they can't help their attitude, they can read kindness, they can read gentleness.
Mhm. Yes.
Let's just be there. Queen, I'll let you come.
Yes. Especially when, we talk about dignity all the time here. So dignity is a huge thing. So keep that in mind. If you can't find it in your heart to understand why you should be kind to people, okay? Dignity is a good reason for that. I
Mm.
was out. I had the pleasure of being out yesterday and visited with someone, and I was in and out, of the apartment running errands. But every time I come back, I knock. I knock on the door. She says, "You don't have to knock every time." Thank you, but sure I do. Because there's a few things with that. It's out of respect because you're entering into someone else's space, whether you've been there already or not. But it's also a good reminder. You know how many times you can startle someone just by opening the door? My son scares me. He startles me all the time. He'll come from nowhere. I'm like, "Where'd you come from?" And I'll jump out of my pants. I'm like, "Where'd you come from?" So you don't want to startle people. That's that dignity thinking about those kind of things. We want to be gentle with that. Again, so back to the agitation and behaviors or whatnot, even with dementia. Again, I had the pleasure of meeting someone else. Awesome, awesome individual. So it was funny because Edith and I met him together. We gave him care, easy peasy, took no time. You know, I came back by myself earlier this week. He was very pleasant. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't agitated. He simply said, playing his game, watching TV, "No, I'm good. No, don't need no shower. Thanks anyways." Already did that. I'm like, "I know, but you know what? Let's get out of these clothes. Your daughter sent me here. Your daughter is going to get me if I don't do this." Which daughter? Now you're trying to play, but you see how the dementia, which daughter, which one? You know, that's masking. Doesn't matter. I can't be like, "Well, I'm here, so go." No. So he didn't want to. Fine. Can I at least trim you up? You look handsome. Look at all that hair. Can we just trim you up? You know, Try to get him to change his clothes. He wouldn't. But I did what I could, you know, and we had to stop giving care where if someone says no to something, we leave them alone. Someone is incontinent, someone hasn't showered for days, and because they don't want to, still not a reason not to let some soap and water hit you every once in a while. So how can we redirect to encourage that behavior to take place? If I can't give the shower, guess who gave the shower? Edith. I said to him yesterday, I said, my feelings are hurt. I said, I cried all the way here. He's like, "Why?" Now, I always ask if he remembers me because I'm new to him. I am a guest in his house. And he'll say, "Of course he's going to say yeah." Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sure he didn't remember the shower situation every day. But that's time I said, "You hurt my feelings. I drove all the way to see you just to tell you that I cried all the way here because you let Edith take care of you." He just chuckled, and that was that.
You know,
No
and I
big
want
deal.
to
It got
say
done.
something to that. Um, because this is a case where we had the family and we had a time. There was a time set
Mhm.
from 1 to 3 for the showers and all. But that day in question, when he didn't want to have the shower, you went late. So he was already up and
Mhm.
his day was going on. He didn't want his TV show to be interrupted. He did not want his game to be interrupted. He didn't want. And so what we did yesterday was I went earlier. I didn't go at the one that we
Mhm.
were supposed to go. Neither did he go at 2, but I went like 12:30 myself,
Mhm.
and he was still sleeping. So as soon as he woke up, I said, "Oh, welcome to the world." And so he started laughing. What time? What time is it? I said, "According to when." Oh my God. So he was shocked that it was almost 1 o'clock. Is it time for me to get up? I said, "It is whenever you want to get up. Do you want to get up?" Like, yeah, I need to get up. I said, "You hungry?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I could eat." So I said, he got up and started wearing his clothes. I said, why don't we take a quick shower, Yeah, yeah. You want me to take a shower? I said, no, I want you to want to take a shower. He said, okay, let's do it. He was in there. He gets himself ready. We did it together. And when he finished and he came to sit in his chair, I said, oh boy, I feel so good. I haven't felt so good in so long at times. So once again, the family was flexible enough to allow us to work with him in a way that works best for him.
Mhm.
Works best for him. And
Mhm.
after he had a sandwich, because he hadn't eaten, and we got him a sandwich, and when his daughter was with me, when he finished eating, he said, the best day of my life. It felt so good. The first doctor came, oh, you smell good. Oh, you brushed your teeth. Oh, it felt good because we were there exactly when we needed to be there. So sometimes when we work together, the family and the care team work together, you know,
Mhm.
it becomes, it comes, it's beneficial. That's the way it helps the client. The key is not to harm, but to help. So you couldn't make him take a bath at 2 because of course not. He was definitely not getting that from his
But
from
doesn't that make sense though? Even with his dementia, that makes sense to him. He might not be able to comprehend what time it is, but he knows he's been up for 2 hours and that's past the time he's willing to.
right,
How the way he connected that was
right,
meaningful to him,
right.
and you were able to meet that need, not just go back at that same time, but rearrange out of compassion, out of dignity, right?
Yeah,
That's what's awesome about linking up with people that are going to care for your loved one appropriately. It's very, very important. All because we are healthy, like Edith Queen Edith just said, she's not a healthcare professional. Absolutely, she is. She gives excellent care in healthcare. So, absolutely, she is. And it doesn't take a title or a position
right.
to see that, So, you have a lot of people in healthcare that have no business working anywhere with people. I'm unfortunately, because like she said, sometimes it is just a job to pay your bills. What we do is not just a job, especially here at Peak Home Care Associates. What we do is not just a job. It's our passion. It's our desire. It's our life, and that makes a difference.
It's our
And
life.
again, I always say whether anyone chooses to link up with us as far as our services or not makes no difference because what we're pouring into people makes a difference. We can't reach everyone. We can't be everywhere, right? But we want to make sure that the impact we make resonates. And then
We
hopefully
will
you will
love the
use our
ones who have
services.
been given to us. We will love the ones who have been given to us and give them our very best. I didn't have to be there at 12:30. I didn't tell the family I was going to be there a little earlier. We didn't charge them that extra because I chose to be there because I knew he didn't get the shower that day, and I felt like he needs a shower, so we got to
Mm-hmm.
work it out and get him, and he felt good about it. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody chastised him for, oh, you didn't do it the other time, and all of that. So the key is that we are helping. We are here to help. We are here to give our best, and they are deserving of it. Will I be deserving of it when I get there? You bet I should be. And I pray that God put someone in my life who will genuinely care for me, even when I'm being nasty. Because I don't know, God forbid, I hope not, but if I do have dementia, I hope that people will do it for me because of me. And that is what my mother always said in her own little way. She said, if you throw a ball to the wall, it will always bounce to you. There's a story of a man whose wife was in a memory care unit, and he had a routine. He had a schedule. Every day, he would eat breakfast and dinner with her for years. One day, someone asked him, why do you even bother? She doesn't even know who you are. And the answer of that husband will never leave me. He said, but I know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but I know who she is. She may not know me, but I know her. And for that, for who she is, who she's been to me, what she's meant to me, the impact she's made on my life as my wife all these years, I will be there, whether she knows it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
let's
love
not
that.
say the person does not know who you are. You don't even know them from who they were. You just met them. You were hired as a caregiver. The thing is this: God knows who she is, and God knows who you are. And what you do for them in this season, when they can't pay you back, when they can't even say a real thank you sometimes, every now and then it will come out. When thank you and when they can repay you with all the insults and all the derogatory things, that is when the true character of who you are shows up. When you can't benefit from them, how do you treat them? How do you treat them? You know,
Yes.
that is where the true character of who you are shows up. And it makes
Definitely.
sense to me that even if it is just a job, it sustains you. It puts food on your table. Even if it just pays a phone bill, it allows you to stay connected to when your children are away from you, when you're away from work, to have a phone to call emergency if you need it. It does not matter how little you look at it, it makes a little difference. And sometimes it's all that we need. That little difference
Mm-hmm.
is all that may take us to the over the line. Let's not. Let's be careful how we take care of these people, these seniors, these
Yes.
one lifetime ago were the movers and shakers of our communities. Even if it's just in being housewives or housebound husbands or raising families, there's nothing greater than raising a family. Let's never forget that. I'm sorry, I think I digressed. To you, Queen.
That was a closer. I can't even say anything. My wheels are spinning in my head. I cannot say anything behind that. That is so true. I love the story you shared about the couple. Um, I love that. It's very important to continue to see our loved ones and not that disease process. And again, just live in their world because they're not the same people. I had a gentleman, I'll say his first name because I loved him so. Mr. Harry. I loved him so. He was the cutest little man. I think I loved him more than he cared about me. We had a younger girl. Her name was Sarah, and this is not a race thing. She was a younger white girl. She was a new nurse, and he would he would cling to me when she was not there. He'd come and ask questions. He'd walk down the hall out of breath all the time. Walk down the hall. Sometimes he'd come and he would take this. He would take the towel or the sheet and he would wrap it around his neck like a superhero. He had this cape and he'd come down the hall out of breath. Have you seen my wife? You know what? I believe she's at the beauty salon, but let's grab something to eat since you're down here. Let's take your meds. Let's grab something to eat since you're down here. You know, and he would sit there and he would eat with his little cape on. There were times where he couldn't find his wife, and she had passed away, right? There were times where he couldn't find her, and he would, later in the evenings, he would get really upset. And he would I remember he took this lamp and tried to bust the window, trying to get out looking for his wife.
My
You
God.
know, it's not a manic episode. That's his reality. So, anyways, with this young lady, Sarah, he would bypass me when Sarah was there, and he would not talk to me. I'm like, what is the problem? He would always talk with Sarah. Come to find out, his daughter somewhat favored her,
Oh,
so that interaction was important to him. I watched him, and I brought him up because I watched him. He came in with dementia, so I watched him just kind of evolve with that. And he was always pleasant, even with the window situation with the lamp. He was not an aggressive person. In his head, he just had to get out and he couldn't figure out how to get out. I remember he was in the bathroom. I had him wash his hands when he was done, and his son was visiting. His son was sitting on the bed, but from the mirror in the bathroom, he could see his son's reflection. It was the strangest thing. He looked in the mirror. He said, "You see that handsome young man back there?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "That's me." I'm looking like, He was like, "Isn't he good looking?" I was like, "Your son?" He was like, "My son." And he's looking in the mirror, my son. He's like, whatever was going on in his head, he was looking in the mirror at his face, but the reflection when he saw his son, he didn't see himself in the mirror. He saw his son, and that was him. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the way his brain was, but he was looking at himself, but didn't see himself until his son's face.
so
So
that's
what's going
why
on in his
the
head?
long-term memory kicks in. He doesn't see that old man, so to speak. He saw him, the younger
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having. It's very interesting. I remember my first experience. This woman, and she would talk about school. She was in her 80s, mom, dad, school. This was all the way in Virginia, mom, dad, school, and that's all she talked about. And we came home from school, and mom is not there. She was telling me a story of her past in the present, as if it was the now. That was my first experience with dementia, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just learn to live in their world. I didn't argue with him about that, that being his son. I just say, yep, he is a handsome young man. You live in their world. So we want to encourage you all to get comfortable with educating yourselves, certainly connect with us, but being educated on dementia care, even as healthcare providers. Those, yearly trainings are important. That continued education is important because we easily forget. That's why we're having this conversation. We easily forget.
And
Didn't I
things
tell you?
there's
Go
research
ahead.
going on all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
their updates, their changes, their upgrades, their whatever it is. So when we
Mm-hmm.
keep ourselves updated, we can serve better.
Mm-hmm.
The key is do not do harm.
Do not,
Give help.
please. So yes, let's have some dignity for our elders. Let's show them some love, some respect, some honor, and some reverence. Right? Um,
Irrespective of their
mhm.
mental status.
Yes, definitely. They deserve that. You know, our motto at Tia Walker, I love Edith, her mission, the mission statement, to care for those who once cared for us. It's one of the highest honors, isn't it? You
Is it?
know, again, it's not a burden. It's for me, it's a pleasure. It's my duty. It's not everyone's duty. It's not everyone is not meant to care for others. And there's nothing wrong if you are a daughter, a son, and that's not for you to care for your parent. I can't say anything about that. I don't know the relationship, but teach his own. So we want to educate you and empower you to understand the dementia process because it is a difficult journey. It's a very difficult journey. It's a very traumatic journey, and whether they know it that you're there or not, they do deserve attention and love and care. So we appreciate all caregivers out there doing their thing, doing the
Yes,
right thing. We appreciate
yes,
you all.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, indeed. Um, we are done, but I wanted to touch on maybe next week the importance of getting some sunlight,
Oh,
especially when
yes.
they live in facilities. So next week, we can write certain posts and put it on our wall and talk about it next week. But check
Okay.
out our wall, Peak Home Care Associates on Facebook. We on Twitter. We have not done a great job updating our Twitter, but we'll keep doing it. Is it Twitter or Instagram? I think it's Instagram. We have IG, but we have not necessarily been updating it, but we'll do our best to. And then these videos are being posted on YouTube too. We just started a new YouTube page. It's not, we don't have a lot there, but these videos will also be there. Please follow us, like us, and especially if you like what we're doing, the things we're sharing, share your thoughts as well. We'd like to hear comments, read comments. We'd love to interact with you. And for any reason, if you feel like you need help, you need to talk, reach us on 317-863-0832, 317-863-0832. Our offices may be closed over the weekends, but our phones are always open. And info at peakhomecareassociates.com, Angelina at peakhomecareassociates.com, Edith at peakhomecareassociates.com. Any of these emails will come to us. If you forget info and you remember Angelina, you remember Edith, just add the name of the agency. It's as simple as that. For email, you can reach us on phone or let us know how we can be of help to you. We are here to serve. We are here to help you navigate, partner with you, or team up with you in the care of your senior adults. They deserve it. They know you can't always be there. There's always the extension of the arm. We can always be your extension. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till you're desperate. Desperate measures never bring solution. So don't wait.
Yeah.
We are Peak Home Care Associates and we appreciate and love you. Thank you. Queen.
We are done. Thank you so much for your time. Please, again, like and share. If you have any questions or comments, you can certainly inbox us. You can email us. If there's a topic that you want to hear about, that you have questions about, let us know. We can talk about healthcare all day and compassion. So let us know. Please connect with us. We want to connect with you. Queen Eda closed this, so that's all I'm going to say. So until next time, next Saturday, same time, I promise you're going to get this together with this technology. Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, on YouTube. We're going to get it together. So, yeah, you all take care. It's been a blessing. It's always a blessing to sit and chat with this queen. Queen Tisha's not here right now, but it's always a blessing to talk with like-minded people that have a vision for greatness and for compassion for others. So until next time, peace,
Bye.
love, and blessings.